Hi y'all, I'm Allison. Today we are proceeding to the next stop in our Start and Stop Buddy Read. Should be getting to 69% of the way through the book today, and I am really looking forward to it. I have to start this out with our disclaimer. If you are not, ready for part 3 of this series, then you're definitely going to want to pick up a copy of the book if you haven't, and then read to 22% and go watch the first video. Then you can join in without anything being ruined, because we are speculating and spoiling our whole way through this book. So far, there's been quite a lot to chat about, especially how unlikable we find this cast of characters, which personally is starting to be part of the fun for me. It's like, okay, who's going to be the most despicable today? I'm going to play that little game with myself today. Who am I going to be like, are you kidding me? The most at. And based on our comments so far, we've got some good theories starting to go around. But first, I have to say that, Sarah Hart's books and I were both wondering if Cassie was just over there going, just wait till you see what's next. And yes, she is. She's having a lot of fun watching our comments, even though she obviously can't speculate with us because she has read this before. But she said that the Krampus party, the event, that ideally, if we would have stopped right after that, that would have been perfect, because apparently this party is where the book is really going to take off, and I can't wait to see what's in store for us. And regardless, I'm excited to find out about this Krampus party. Y'all, of course, already know what's in store for me today, because you should be 69% of the way through. You should be on page 222, and I think it was 7 hours and 27 minutes in the audio. Kindle, probably about page 220. So if you haven't reached that point, then you're hit the wrong video, backtrack, and then return to when you are at the right spot. Okay, let's dive into some more of these comments. I'll share some theories, and I came up with some new ones while discussing the book with y'all last night and this morning. By the way, I have had sleep. I'm feeling much better today. I'm all here. It's only like 9 a.m. So I have high hopes for today. I'm going to read early in the morning, and then it'll give me all day to edit, and I won't be doing the scrambling that I've been doing. Okay, let's get back to the comments, because I got some wild new theories for y'all today that I'm excited to share. Oh, the other thing that Cassie said was the first time when she read it in like 1 or 2 sittings, which is what you would normally do, especially with a thriller, because you're like, I want to know what's going to happen. So while she didn't necessarily like Harriet the first time around, she didn't find her nearly as infuriating as she has at this slower pace, because, this gives you time to really absorb what's happening and what's being done. And, some things become a little bit more obvious than when you just devour a book really quickly, which is one of the reasons why I love doing this with y'all. We're finding stuff that I normally would have just skipped right over. The other thing she pointed out, which I thought was so cool, our author, Catherine Steadman, she's actually an actress, and she played Mabel Lane Fox on Downton Abbey. Huge fan of that show. Lily's having fun. Lily, can I have it? Thank you, girl. That candy corn is getting so disgusting. I'll give it back to her when we're done. Anyway, I've noticed while I'm reading the book, it does read as it would be a great movie. I'm picturing this atmospheric, kind of dark lit movie with, a lot of suspenseful music, because this is a thriller. And you can see Catherine Steadman's, a movie background in the way that she writes. And I love her writing. Characters aside, I love how she is writing it. The style. Okay, L.P. Harris, I thought was so cool talking about Krampus. Her cousin dresses up as Krampus and actually goes and has his picture taken with people at holiday events and everything. L.P. gets kind of like, just skeeved out by it. It finds it creepy. But I think that's so cool. I can't wait to find out what this party is about, because as I've said 50 million times, I don't really know all of this tradition. I know just the surface. So I'm glad I'm going to experience it from the safety of my couch. Now, LP was also wondering, what if the nanny's account was a fake? It could be anybody who is answering those emails, or was it messages? Whatever. Is it in fact going to be the nanny, and will they show up for the, there's a whole nother layer of questions that come with that open ending of the nanny that's been introduced. And she also found it odd when Lila and Harry were at the Manhattan one. What was the name of that building? Anyway, the glass floor that freaked me out. She found it odd that, Lila was tapping on the glass with her heel to see how much Harry scares. So I think that's going to tie into the Krampus party. I think we will see. So Stacey L, and she's not the only one. We've got quite a few people that aren't quite sure how they feel about the book. They're not sure if they're liking it or not. Everybody pretty much agrees that there's not really a redeemable character among the whole lot of them. And I think that's part of the fun of it. So Stacey says that, it just makes her uncomfortable, but she was also wondering if that was the point. And I think that is the entire point. I think the whole thing, like I said, I'm kind of reading it as a thriller, a movie. And I think the whole thing is to kind of have you get that ick factor in, that creepy, that just sinister, that something's going wrong here. This should be an idyllic situation. She should be, it's the fairy tale dream. She's going to marry into a billionaire with all this family history and everything. Life should be golden. But no, it's very, very sinister. So I think it's all by design. So we'll see how we feel after this next segment. I have a feeling this will really, I think it's all been building up to this. We've had a slow build. Now, Michael did have one problem, and after he pointed it out, I wholeheartedly agree with him. Why in the world would she only listen to part of the tape? I can understand she got spooked and scared when she heard her name, but wouldn't you immediately want to hear what else is on this tape? I would. Michael said he'd binge it. There'd be no way that it would be like, can't leave it here. I have to know. You would want to hear the whole thing to find out how real this was and how terrified you should be, especially before contacting a nanny and, reaching out to the cop with theoretical questions. So good job on you, Michael, because I was so stunned by what happened that I didn't even question the logic behind it. But, if she would have listened maybe another 20 minutes, she might have her answer on the nanny and find out that the nanny isn't there. And then who's she texting? Maybe that's part of it. Maybe that'll be a twist that comes up. Dun, dun, dun. So Carol, she thinks that Ed is kind of dull. He's just like a two-dimensional character. And you know what? He does feel like nothing but a plot device because he's really a very minor character in this. This is all about Harriet. And Carol also wants to know is, okay, Harriet's a writer. She's good at research. She has to do her research for her books. And in fact, it's proven because she's talking to that cop doing her research. So how could she not know about the older son, Bobby, who died, essentially tragically? It doesn't fit for Carol. And I agree, it touched on that last time, that it doesn't seem very feasible that information wouldn't be out there, which led me to another wild theory. What if there is no Bobby? What if that's the fabrication? Because with their resources, they could easily plant an old article, a fake obituary online for her to discover, because she discovered it quite easily. And you could twist the real facts. You could, write a story that never actually happened. And, there was a suicide in front of the building. Use that picture. It doesn't show who it was. Again, you could easily manufacture your own little past. It's the internet. Half of it's not true anyway. So, I think that would be a lot easier to do than removing the heir to a billionaire completely, almost from the internet, at the age of 20. There would have been references to him from schools and just events and speculating on what it's going to mean for the guy. There's just... So anyway, that's a wild theory out there. What if Bobby doesn't exist at all? wild theory number one for the day. And I have another one. What if, and this ties in with this as well. She's saying that how did she not find, Bobby in all of her research? From what I remember, and it may just be that this is what's sticking out in my mind, it seemed like Harriet's research that she was doing all had to tie in with Edward's ex-girlfriends. That's where she was kind of obsessed and jealous over the ex-girlfriends and all that stuff. So what if she didn't actually meet Bobby or Edward by chance? What if she kind of, after doing her research into all of his past relationships, as the researcher, she discovered what he would respond to. So she manufactured that scene at the museum to create the damsel in distress moment, knowing that Edward would come in and that would be their little meet cute. And that would eventually, hopefully, get her to her end goal, which is the father. Because her obsession with Robert, it's just, there's something else there. There's got to be. So what if this was all her way of getting close to Robert? What if that's her end game? Like I told you, I am full of wild theories. In fact, I was even going to go so far as, what if the reason they got in with the doctor as soon as she found out that she was pregnant on Thanksgiving is that was fake too? And I was like, but no, she did go down and get the pregnancy test from the drugstore. So she really is pregnant. So I'm questioning everything. I trust nothing, and I am super suspicious. I think I had one more wild theory. Oh, Sarah Hart's books. That's what it was. She's wondering how Harriet's parents tie in. Because it's being portrayed that Harriet potentially had something to do with that. And my theory on that one, that it didn't occur to me until writing back to Sarah today, was, okay, she has said repeatedly that she was the only one there. It was the perfect crime. Nobody saw it. But what if somebody didn't witness it? And somehow Robert is aware of what happened that day. And that's what makes Harriet different, because they've stressed a couple of times that she is different from all of Edward's exes in the past. So if he knows that Harriet had something to do with the death of her parents, he would have some major leverage over her. And you add the fact that she's an author, she writes thrillers, so she kind of thinks in this suspicious, has these murky morals, at least imagination-wise, she can carry all this stuff off. So what if he's like, she's the perfect tool to elevate whatever these family games that they're doing. So my theories have just gone all over the place. And if we weren't reading this at the slower pace that we are, I just would have taken it all at surface level and just been like, okay, what happens next, without even coming up with all this wild stuff. So it'll be cool if I'm right, but then at the same time, I kind of hope I'm not, because I don't want to ruin it for everybody if I accidentally stumbled into what's really going on by just grabbing at the most outrageous theories that I could come up with. Although I don't think they're too outrageous. I think there's some logic behind those. Or maybe it's just my sleep-deprived brain just really running rampant. We'll find out, because I have rambled long enough. Let's move over to the couch and find out if today's events will support or kill my theories. We'll find out together. All right, let's go. We're all settled. Finley's right here. I have a feeling he will come up and join, at least for a moment. You can see a little bit more of my decorations around the house. All right, I hope you've grabbed a snack or something to drink. I have a feeling I've already rambled quite a bit, so I will try to be selective with my comments today, but I make no promises, because, yeah, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot to talk about, because we are diving in to the Krampus party, and I cannot wait for this. So excited. That was another one of my theories. I don't know if I mentioned it before in the last video or not, but her debut book reached 1 million sales, right? So Edward's family has, the publishing company is part of their holdings. So did they orchestrate that? Did she sell those 1 million books on her own, or are they already kind of, I guess, for lack of a better word, grooming her for their own purposes? I think I did mention that. And one other thing, I will say that the author has done a great job of creating unease, and I think in large part to the attraction that Harriet has for Robert. We all found it off-putting. It happened at the very beginning. So it created this level of unease that just carries throughout the book. So honestly, I think it's quite brilliant as a device for setting the tone of the book. And it's also kind of risky because I wonder how many people have put the book down because of it. So I'm glad we're plowing through regardless, because I have a feeling it's going to be worth it at the end. Okay, it's like this race is being put on for the kids and the family, and it's like I know it's supposed to be ominous and scary and everything, but I don't really feel like she's in any danger at this point. But it may not be as wholesome and innocent as you would assume. I guess we'll find out. But, being told to run for your life, I think that would put me a little bit on the edge, even though I'd be like, well, surely no bad can come to me here. Kind of like whenever you go to, I guess, a haunted house or anything, it's a safe environment, but at the same time, you can't help but get that adrenaline rush. I do love how he calls her Harriet. Little Billy is adorable. Okay, this would be creepy, especially in a house you don't know. You gotta run and look for the stick. And I bet that cowbell would just be creepy sounding. Unlike her, I'm expecting an uncle in a costume. Although LP did say that, I guess she's kind of creeped out by her cousin dressing up as Krampus. She doesn't get the appeal of it. And this may be a little bit more realistic than my imaginings. Oh, and the adults are closed off in a room. They're not, I assume they were all just, kind of right there in the room watching from the sidelines, as adults tend to do. But the kids are just on their own in a dark house with a shrieking. This is hardcore. As a kid, I probably would have peed my pants. So they bring the haunted house to you. Whoa, this creature, holy hell. Wow, so they've got 5 floors to hide in. That's a big house. Yeah, if it's been planted in your mind that, Robert at least is capable of murder, being in this situation would get terrifying quick. Oh, too cute. Poor little Billy just beat his pants on her hip, and she asked if he was scared, and he said, yeah, scared, but mainly soda. How precious is this child? Oh, we even have the creepy attic. I bet he looks so cute in his little lederhosen. And they're up in the playroom. And she's just realized that she's probably going to have to go back down into the house because adult's going to have to find it. And more than likely, she's the only adult left playing. So the clue is hidden in the letter of their name. The oldest player is the I'm sorry, but a 13-year-old would know what the word hereditary means. So they're going to have to go down to the basement. So is that how it always is, that the person's first name is a clue to where it's hidden? Because that seems, what if you can't make an anagram out of their name? So she's going down a service hatch. I would assume that's the dumbwaiter, right? Good for her. I'm glad that she elbowed him in the face. This thing has gone too far. I wonder, I can't even guess at who's behind the mask. So it's a test. They're testing her. This is one sick family. Remember how I said that, I didn't like the fact that she wouldn't embrace his family's traditions? This one is jacked up. So they were all in there watching them. So the diamond bracelet came from Robert and not Edward. Because Matilda said you get coal and diamonds. Ha, that's funny. Dad's sense of humor all over. This family is so twisted. That night, I would have been mad. I would have been livid, especially knowing that they were watching. It would have felt so humiliating. The kids who get caught by Krampus get taken to the kitchen for ice cream. So the kids are just, playing along with it, and she definitely got caught up in it. So I don't know, who do y'all side with? On one hand, I can almost kind of see where Edward's coming from with, she could have stopped it at any point. He knew she wasn't in any danger, and, I don't like the test aspect of it. But, yeah, no, I'd still be angry. Yeah, I can't spin it to where it would be okay. It just, and I guess part of it too is throwing the kids in there and her being pregnant and not know. Wow. I honestly, I don't know what I think about it. I think it would be cool and fun for a group of teenagers or adults that knew what they were getting into. I don't know if the way it happened was the right way for it to happen. I hope I'm making sense. Especially in light of the tape that she just heard. She's already on edge, but supposedly nobody's supposed to know that. So in the very least, it just seems like they're all having a good laugh at her expense. And for that reason, I would be upset if it was me. And I don't know if I would come around on that or not. I guess it would depend on the way Edward spoke to me afterwards. If he validated why I was upset, which he doesn't really seem to be doing. They seem to be at an impasse. Like I've always said, they shouldn't be a couple. And this kind of highlights that. But again, I am seeing this as a movie, and this would be so fun to watch. I will say, seeing the first sonogram when you're pregnant would definitely end any argument that you had, at least momentarily, because it's just so awe-inspiring, and yeah. That's an experience you don't forget. Okay, so she's going to try and piece everything together before Edward gets back to decide if she's going to stay with him or not. Why hasn't she listened to the rest of the tape yet? I would listen to it before going to meet with the nanny. Okay. She just met with Samantha, and of course she hadn't listened to more of the tape. And I'm confused because, for one, she was saying, she signed an NDA and she couldn't talk about the Hallbacks and everything. But as soon as she finds out that she's marrying Edward, she says, oh, and then all of a sudden she supplies the blonde. The one who sprang to my mind just now was Bobby's college girlfriend. They broke up a month or so before Bobby died. So all of a sudden now she can say who the blonde was. And I guess my theory was wrong. I guess Bobby is real. I liked my theory, though, about Bobby being a figment of imagination and, you know. But I don't think that's the case unless it's a really elaborate. You know, they're going for the long con here. So I don't know what to make of anything. So we're back to square one, where Robert could have potentially killed somebody. And we did learn that Bobby was having trouble with his dad. There was too much pressure on him, but he jumped all by himself. Why does she emphasize he? I think I'm reading too much into everything. I'm going to stop speculating and just see what happens. Okay, again, I don't know how I feel about her digging through his office and everything, looking for the picture of Bobby's girlfriend. I mean, on one hand, she's simply trying to figure out what happened, you know, if this tape is real or not. But on the other hand, she's digging through all of his private things, and it just, instead of talking to him directly, that's the part that bothers me. I mean, granted, it would be a really strange conversation. Hey, do you think your dad may have killed somebody? But she should at least on some level be talking to him about what's going on, you know, asking her questions directly and not just sneaking around. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I think my theory of Bobby being made up and that being easier to fabricate than to hide his existence online is completely out of the water. We're now found a whole bunch of articles about his missing girlfriend from Columbia, the college. So I doubt they would have multiple articles on that and everything. So, yeah. Although my theory would make for a good book, I think. Or maybe that's a movie I've already seen and that's where I came up with that idea. So now she did all the research and everything before hitting play on the tape. Well, at least we're going to find out what's next. Although, you know, I would be a little apprehensive to hear the rest of it, but I don't think I would have waited this long. Yeah, I would have had to binge it. I'd be like, rip the Band-Aid off. I need to know what I'm up against. So he's admitting to a second one. Gianna. I'm listening to Robert's tape. She's finally playing it. Yeah, so this confirms she, I guess in the least, she watched her parents die and she didn't go for help. And he knows about it. He knows he has leverage on her. So I think I was right on that. And that's why he feels safe in confessing to her. Because, you know, he's probably been wanting to confess and brag about this ever since everything happened. Because now he's nonchalantly talking about another girl. Are these girls that he himself had, like, maybe an affair with or something like that? I don't know. It's a very sleazy vibe. Especially the second one. Oh, in fact, he says, I do know what you've done. Oh, it wasn't her parents that she was. It was whoever hit her. I did not see that. Okay, I did not see that coming about her parents' wreck. What would... I mean, she was 11 years old. Provided that this really happened, that she really did cause the drunk driver car to explode, which seems very feasible. And I thought that Robert had leverage on her. He knew what happened that day. What would they... I don't know that they would have charged her, but a scared 11-year-old, scared 11-year-old. Regardless, you're not going to want to admit to doing that because that would have been definitely an impulse moment. She was a shocked terror. So many emotions. She couldn't process the implications of her actions. She just reacted. But that's not something I would have foreseen at all. It's a good twist. Oh, so she would have been held accountable in the UK. Because 10 years old is the age. She was 11. There's no statute of limitations. So he's threatening her. You keep quiet about mine, I won't tell about yours. Leverage. Oh. Yeah, he's going to own her. He has the ability to just manipulate her and play her like a little puppet from now on. I can't even imagine carrying that for 20 years. It seems trivializing it, but the impulse of an 11-year-old child who just suffered the worst thing imaginable, watching both of your parents just because of a drunk driver, and then living with that for 20 years. Okay, I had to go refresh my Coke, and Lily went outside. I think I re-angled my phone when I turned it on. Anyway, we're on December 21st. Bigger fish to fry. She just found out that Edward is going to be selling his company. He just returned from his trip to, I think it was Hong Kong. And he's going to sell the company, and they're actually going to have more money than, the father's company wouldn't be able to afford the price that he's going to get for his, which gives Harriet some reassurance because they'll be on a level playing field. She feels like she'll have the money and the resources to beat Robert at his own game, so to say. So one good thing that has come out of all of this, I think her attraction to Robert is long gone. She now sees him as an adversary, which is good. And I find myself actually starting to warm up to her a little bit. So I don't know why that is. I think because she stopped obsessing about Robert. I think that's what it is. And Edward's getting more page time, of course. And, maybe there is hope for them as a couple, but with this kind of a foundation, she's going to be keeping her past from him and Robert's past doings from him. That's not a good basis for a marriage, obviously. So I don't know. I am curious and intrigued. I want to keep going. I still have only like 15 more pages to go. I have a feeling today's stop is really gonna, I want to keep going. Oh, and they just agreed to go to the Hydes, Robert's, the family home that is out secluded and everything for Christmas. They'll be there for 3 days. As we know from the prologue, they do go, and things don't go that well for Harriet. Okay, so she is planning to listen to the last of the tape before going there, so that's a good thing. Hey, there's an Allison. He didn't mention what happened to Allison. Wow, his demeanor during this tape, referring to her chosen technique for ending a life. You're not the first person he's divulged the secret to, but he could be the first to survive the knowledge. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's killed off 5, I guess, potential future daughters-in-law. Okay, we got another unlikely scenario where she actually gets the address of Melissa from her employer, which I don't see that happening, even if somebody wanted to avoid getting in to a late bill mess. Anyway, so she's listened to the last of the tape, and she's running through all of, the people on Robert's list. And it looks like, there's one tied to each of the children two potentially for Edward. So I don't know what to think. Robert is clearly unhinged, and he has taken protecting his family to a whole nother level. Apparently, if he doesn't like the romantic interests of his children, he just takes them out. He kills them. It's still, it's looking like this is actually happening. That it's not just, Robert trying to scare her and making up some story. It seems like he's actually confessing to this. And since, like I said, she committed her own crime, he feels safe in doing so because he's got that leverage. But apparently he has told ones in the past as well. And I guess, they didn't live up to his expectations. I guess they went and ratted him out, or attempted to. So he took him out. But if that's the case, why were there no repercussions? Again, is this all a test? I don't know. I'm so intrigued. She's right. Oliver's the only one who hasn't been affected. He's the one who took over the business. So does that mean Fiona's in on the secret too, or are they just completely out of the loop? Oh, shoot. I went too far. Darn it. I read to the edge of the page. I mean, to the end of the page. Okay, so I just reached the end, obviously, and then went past it. First time I'd done that. Darn it. I don't know what I think. What about y'all? I think all of my theories have been shot out of the water. I think Bobby definitely died and potentially driven to suicide by his father's expectations and argument. His life, I don't know on that. One thing I don't get is, what is she supposed to piece together? The motivation on why all of these people are dying? Or that is one key factor that I'm just clueless about, because this isn't a mystery of solving who did it. This one's a thriller, and it's, how much trouble is Harriet going to be in ultimately, I think is what it boils down to. I don't know. I don't think I have any theories at this exact moment. I'm just going to kind of chew on this. It was a lot to take in today. I'm definitely enjoying the book a lot more than I was before. I mean, I was liking it before. I was kind of liking it for its ew factor, and it was different. It was making me uncomfortable and uneasy, and I appreciated that. And now I'm getting more invested in the story, and I'm warming up to Harriet a little bit. Are y'all doing the same, or is it just me? So I'm definitely intrigued. I want to know what's going to happen. I hate having to put it down now. And now we got to wait again. Speaking of waiting, I'm also waiting to find out if we're going to finish the book in the next session, or if we're going to be breaking it up over two. So I'm curious. The vote is really close. And Michael, by the way, I meant to say, that was so sweet of you. You're welcome for hosting this. And I really do enjoy these videos. I got some sleep yesterday. I took like a 4-hour nap in the middle of the day. I was prepared to just sleep through until the next day if need be, but I think I woke back up at 7, and I was able to go back to bed, I think at midnight last night. So I am feeling much better rested. I definitely needed that. So as far as whether y'all picked an extra stop or not, for me, honestly, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. We either have one more session, which is a longer video, which of course is going to take more to put together, or we break it up into 2, which would make the videos shorter and easier to do, but I'm doing 2. So it pretty much washes out. I'm good either way. And I have no guess on how this book is going to play out from here. So I think I'm going to I'm going to spend a little bit of time with my son this afternoon, if he's available. Do a little bit of Christmas shopping with him. We don't get as much one-on-one time as I would like. and then I'll think about what I've read. Come back tonight after the vote has closed, and I will give y'all the next magical paragraph and share any new insight that I may have unraveled today. Any more new pearls of wisdom. I think all of my wild theories have been shot out of the water, though. But they were fun to come up with, so I'm okay with that. I don't mind going out on a limb and just coming up with those weird things. Although I'm secretly relieved that I didn't actually stumble on it and ruin the book. All right. I will see y'all later on today. It's evening now, and the poll has long been closed. With 62% of the vote, y'all opted to just finish the book during our next stop. So I don't have to give you a paragraph this time, and we're not going to have any more suspense. We get to find out how this is all going to wrap up during our next reading session, and I'm looking forward to it because I've been thinking about it today, and I have no idea where this is going to go. I'm out of theories at the moment. Maybe discussing it with y'all in the comments tomorrow will spark some new ideas, little gems of wisdom. Who knows? But right now, I'm totally clueless. No idea where it's going to go. And I'm here for it. So you are free, my little birds, to walk, run, or skip your way to the end of the book. And I'll be back the day after tomorrow to hash it all out with you. Have fun in the meantime, and I think that's it. So bye.